Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name's Angie, and for today's video, I just have a tutorial for you guys. I've been wanting to do this for a while. If you guys want me to do anything else, please feel free to comment down below any suggestions. And yeah, let's get started. So today I'm just going to show you guys how to create something like this. It's just a simple Twitch alert. This one specifically I made for subs. I haven't made any other ones for follows or raids or anything like that. But if you guys want to create something similar or something a little bit different, you can always look up references and try to recreate that as much as you can. And now I know Photoshop isn't something everyone can get just because it's not free, but you can always do the 2-week trial. And even though Photoshop can be a little bit intimidating for anyone who hasn't used it before, trust me, you'll be fine. I'm going to walk you guys through everything. So to start, I'm just going to lock this layer over here so we don't touch it. I'm going to open a new layer, and we can start off by making this boxed shape. There's 2 ways you can do this. I use the marquee tool, which is this tool up here. I use this one a lot and just fill it in with color, or you can use the shape tool to do a rectangle. Either or is fine. I'm going to do the marquee, so I'm just going to make a rectangle, something like this, and then over here I'm just going to pick the color. So let's do the purple that it has, something like that. And then I'm going to hit on my keyboard Alt and backspace, and that'll fill in the rectangle for me. If you guys don't want to do that, or you're not going to remember, you can always just use the brush tool, which on the keyboard the shortcut is B, and then you can just paint it in just like this. Oop, my opacity is super low. You can paint it like this. To get rid of the marquee tool, because you guys see that it's still activated, I just hit Control D, and what that is, it means deselect, so it's not selecting it anymore. So I'm just going to transform this a little bit to make it a little bit thinner. Control T, that's transform on the keyboard. And then I'm just hitting, at least with this version of Photoshop, I'm holding Shift, and then I'm just pressing on this little square up here and just dragging up and down. So you can either hit enter, or you can hit the little check mark that was up here just now. And then to give it these curved shapes that I gave it on the side, I'm going to use the eraser tool. So you can either find it over here. You can always hover over the tool and it'll tell you the name of it. And it'll also tell you what key is the shortcut. So in this case, it's the E for eraser. And then I'm just going to size it a little bit bigger. On the keyboard, to size the eraser tool a little bit bigger, right next to the P, you have the letter P on the keyboard, you have some brackets. That's how you'll size bigger and smaller for the eraser tool. If not, you can always click on the tool up here and then you can size it. You can also side click and you'll have it like this. So I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. And then what I'm going to do, this is the really cool thing about some tools in Photoshop. This is my eraser right here. I'm just going to change the arrow like this. And then I'm just going to squeeze this like this a little bit. And you see now my eraser is like an oval shape. Now I'm just going to look for the right angle to just clip it like that. So it's a little bit similar. I think I want to do it like a little bit deeper. And just click. There we go. And then for the other side, this is the cool part. I pressed M for the marquee tool again. I'm going to select this area, and what I'm going to do is hit Control C. Control C is copy. And then I'm going to hit Control Shift V, which is paste. And it'll paste it in the same exact spot, and it opened a new layer for me. If you just do Control V, it'll like paste it, but it'll paste it in like a different area. So I have it right here. Now I'm going to Control T to transform it. And then if you side click on the tool, you can flip horizontal, and I'm just going to move it over here. Boop. And there it is. That's the shape I have right now. And now I'm just going to merge both of the layers so it's just one piece and not two separate pieces like I have it right now. So how to do that, I select both layers, you select one, then you hold shift on the keyboard, select the other one, you side click it, and you see over here it says merge layers. I'm going to click that, and now it's just one piece. Now for the diamond shape, I used one of these tools. I used the polygon tool. Now you can either use a rectangle tool and just try to transform it into like a diamond looking shape, but I'm gonna do a polygon tool, see if that works out for me better. So I created a diamond with the polygon tool over here in shapes. All you have to do is just click on your area and just drag it to whatever size you want, and then up here you can see right all the way to the right hand side, you can pick how many sides the tool can have. So here it can be 3, it can be 2, it can be whatever you guys want, and it'll edit to however many sides you guys want. Okay, so I have my tool right here. Now I'm just going to Control T, transform, and try to make it a little bit longer, kind of like the diamond that we have over here. And then I'm just going to change the color on it. So in this case, because it is a tool, it's kind of locked to other things that you would be able to do with this piece over here. So if you side click it, there's an option here called rasterize layer. I'm going to click this, and now I can paint over it or do whatever I want. Now something I like to do a lot is lock the pixels on the layer. It says right there, lock transparent pixels. I'm going to click this, and I'm just going to use my brush tool. I'm going to pick a different color. Let's do something like pink. And just brush over it. Maybe a little bit darker so we can be able to tell the difference in it. And there we go, we have the diamond for it. Now I'm just gonna size it a little bit, and there we go. Now to give it this gradient look that I put on the first piece, it's super easy. This is one of my favorite tools. So over here in my layers, I'm just going to create a new one. And then we have a gradient tool here in Photoshop. I'm not exactly sure why it's not working for me, but this is the tool that I've been using lately. I was working on Photoshop the other day and it stopped working for me. So if you guys have any suggestions on that, feel free to let me know. But you can use the gradient tool, and then up here you can select like different types of gradients that you can do. And all I did was select purple, and then I did the purple at the bottom, and then I did some white and pink for the top. But in this case, since I don't have it, I'm just gonna do it all by hand. That's another way you can do it too. The gradient is just easier. I'm going to do it with my brush, and I'm just gonna lower the opacity a little bit. So with brush, if you hold Alt, you can use the color picker. So I'm just going to select the same purple and then just drag it a little bit to the bottom so it's a little bit darker. I'm going to make my tool a little bit bigger, and then I'm just going to paint like that over it. So you see it's a little bit darker. And then let me grab some pink for up here. We got some pink, and then I'm going to select a kind of almost white to do on the top. Now, so we can be able to tell the difference between the background and what these colors look like, a lot of the things that I like to do for my art is add a drop shadow to it. So you just click on the layer that you want to do a drop shadow on. You go to down here to FX and you hit drop shadow. Here in drop shadow, you can control the opacity, the distance of the shadow, the spread of it. You guys can see that, and also the size, which just kind of makes it blurry. Now for the triangle diamond thing that I have up here, I did a lot of this by hand to make it look like this. I also added some drop shadows, some glows, a lot of effects that we have here. Now we can start off by duplicating this layer. I'm going to do Control J. That duplicates the same layer. So now I have two pieces. For this one, I'm going to paint it a different color. I'm gonna do probably around the same purple that we have for the first piece. Do something like that. Maybe a little bit lighter, actually. So I like how that looks. And then, once I paint that, I'm just going to transform it to be a little bit smaller in this case, so it just stays centered. I hold the Alt key and then I just resize it like that. Now what I did for the lines, I just zoom in, take my brush, make it really small, kind of like that. And then I also create a new layer. That way I'm not doing everything on the same one in case you do any mistakes. On this new layer, I just use the same color. So I have my brush, I hold Alt and I color pick it. I'm gonna hold Shift so my line is straight, and then I just go like that. Now I think that's a little bit too thick and a little bit too blurry, so I'm going to change my brush. You have different brush options. Once you click on it, you go to the top, you see this little folder here. It'll open up this menu for you. I'm going to click this one. This one's 123. Well, that's the size of it, I think. That one is harder than the other brush I was using. It's kind of like blurry on the edges. So I'm just gonna size this one smaller. Let's see how this one looks. So I like how this one looks. Now I'm just gonna keep holding Shift and I'm gonna go all the way to the bottom. So it's nice and perfectly aligned, perfect. Now I'm gonna do the same thing for the sides. Now it looks super plain and simple. So what I'm going to do is just click on this layer, on this diamond layer, which is this one right over here. And then I'm gonna create a new layer. Now in this one, I'm going to just give it like a little bit of a white center like I have on this one over here. For that, I just use my brush and I'll use this one, the lighter one. And I'm going to lower the opacity on it. So I'm maybe gonna do all the way over here, like 14%. You guys can see here on top. I'm going to select a lighter color than this purple. I'm gonna make my brush a little bit bigger, maybe even give it a shape actually. And since you see those lines that I created before, you can either erase them or you can just move the layer under the triangle. That way it's not on top of it. Okay, maybe I'm just gonna make it a little bit wider now. And I just click and click and click. So now in this triangle layer, I'm going to add a drop shadow. So obviously that's a little bit too much, so I'm going to toggle the distance in. I'm probably going to make the size a little bit bigger, kind of have it blurry like that. I like how that looks actually. I'm gonna leave it like that. Hit OK. And then on the same layer, I think I'm going to do as well an inner shadow. You see how in this one it's a little bit darker on the inside. let's see how this turns out. So you have your distance here, but this one for sure needs the size to be a little bit bigger. You see, that looks really cool. It's in black right now. I think I'm gonna change it a little bit purple. That's nice. I think I like how that looks. Oh, you see how the lines, even this looks cool. Now I'm just gonna do the same thing for the first triangle, the bigger one. Here I'm going to do an outer glow. The only problem with the outer glow is that it kind of just like masks the drop shadow. So you have to play around with the outer glow and see if it actually looks good with it. In this case, it's obviously not going to be this peach color. Probably gonna do like a purple or a pink. Let's do like a light pink like that maybe. Making the size and the spread smaller. Definitely the size, small spread. You see how it like masks the drop shadow so you can't really see it very much. I'm not loving the pink, so I'm gonna play around with different colors. And then I also did an outline on it, so we can also do an outline. So in this case it would be the stroke. We can do a dark purple, kind of like that. And then the finishing touch, I like to visualize what the final product is going to look. So what I did is add an S for subs, and then you can choose your font to anything you want. We can leave it on this one just to show you guys what I did. But if you want to add any text to your alert or anything beforehand that you're not going to do in Streamlabs or Streamlabs OBS, you can add it here in Photoshop, or if you're using another program, that's fine. I only added the S for visual purposes. But yeah, I have my S, and then down here you'll have like Angie's Tea, just subscribes, or whatever it is that you guys have for your Twitch alerts. That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for the tutorial on how I animated this. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I would really appreciate it if you guys could follow me on Twitch, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.